Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Susanti, and today I would like to present my research under the title Haunted Bodies, a Semiotic Analysis of Woman Ghost Representation in Indonesian Horror Film, conducted by Susanti, S.I.Kom MA, and also Rizka Rahmawati as University of Muhammadiyah, Magelang student and lecturer. Horror genre is one of the most fruitful and notorious part of conventional film production. Horror offers concept of the oldest primitive collective perception of humans, legends, rite, religious tradition, focusing on the endless uncertain fears of passing away, eternal life, and the principle of the thing personified in the human being. Horror films hold a particular significant place within Indonesian popular culture. Numerous titles consistently attract millions of viewers. However, these films frequently rely on the use of women as objects believed to enhance their commercial appeal. The objectification not only marginalizes women, but also positions them within the concealed, peripheral, and often deliberately obscure spaces within the cinematic narrative. This study examines several films titled that will serve as the primary object of analysis, namely KKN in the Dancing Village 2022, Sugar Mill 2024, and Haunting of Mount Gede 2024. KKN in Dancer Village depicts a female spirit tied to ritual purity and violated boundaries, whose haunting embodies patriarchal control over women's bodies. Sugar Mill story centers on a woman ghost whose suffering within an oppressive industrial past transformed her body into a symbol of systemic gendered violence. And Haunting of Mount Gede, a vengeful female ghost emerges from past violence and sacred space transgression, symbolizing unresolved trauma linked to nature and femininity. That's led to the research question of this research, how visual and narrative sign encoded in this film and how it represents of woman as a supernatural being. The method that used in this research was obtained through qualitative study process which content analysis from 3 horror films that told before, and the data collected in a month in November 2025 consists of the scenes captured to find the signifier, theme, semiotic pattern, and narrative function. The data analyzed using a BART semiotic works with a focus on identifying the sign and symbol behind the text to find the relation to the myth. And also, as you can see on the screen, the Roland Barthes mythological process which focus on signifier, signified, and also to find the myth. The research results from this results has been conducted. There are 66 scenes that represent women in 3 horror films in repetitive signifiers related to female ghosts. This including the ritualized attire, long hair, bodily decay, blood, enclosed household, and rural area. As you can see on the screen that there are 4 pictures captured from the film in the conducted film in the research that represent all the signifier of the woman as a ghost. And horror movie have a fascinating system of portraying women. They have a tendency to be a genre where a woman can have the role of the hero in the narrative. However, the overestimated sex symbol and victim. At the connotative level, the sign generates theme and sexual vulnerability, purity, shame, revenge, and unresolved trauma. Put the female body seductive and threatening simultaneously. According to Blakely, repeated exposure to gender imbalance, sexual depiction of women, and violent depictions of men may affect gender-related attitude and belief of young men and women, as well as their normative belief about the extent to which their peers are engaging in sexual activity and violent behavior. As you can see as well in the screen that there are films in KKN in Desert Village that when woman seduce a man to do a sin, but actually it's a ghost that transformed in a woman body and also doing the sin thing. And also in the Mount Gede and also in the sugar mill, the woman body reflect to the negative thing that seduce a man to do the sinful thing. At the mid level, the three film recreate and elaborate on a uniquely Indonesian interpretation of the vengeful feminine, in which women suffering caused by exploitation or systematic violence. These three films portray women through a dualistic and contradictory framework. On one hand, women appear as haunted figures whose presence ultimately facilitated the resolution of the narrative conflict. On the other hand, they are also positioned as the very source of disruption, embodying the origins and of chaos and manifesting as vengeful female spirit burdened by unresolved histories. Furthermore, the myth articulated in KKN Dancer Village and Sugar Mill construct woman and sexuality as inseparable entities. In Haunting of Mount Gede, the natural bodily process of menstruation is depicted as impure, function as the catalyst for the emergence of demons or not supernatural forces. Finally, this study argues that Indonesian mainstream horror cinema continues to shape collective perception of women bodies as sites of fear, control, and cultural anxiety. Taken together, these three films reveal a persistent dualism in the representation of women. Within contemporary Indonesian horror cinema through Cartesian semiotic structures, women are simultaneously encoded as haunted subject and as the originating source of supernatural disorder, occupying a contradictory space between victimhood and threat. This representational pattern reaffirms long-standing patriarchal narrative that position women bodies as morality unstable, symbolically volatile, and perpetually liminal. Ultimately, the film demonstrates how the female ghost becomes a cultural resonant figure through which Indonesian horror cinema negotiates social anxieties about gender, sexuality, and bodily autonomy. This is all that I can present you about the research. Thank you for the time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.